I'll just go in until you're. Hey, James. James, can you hear me?
Hey, how you doing, Eric?
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Eric, yeah, we're just having a little technical difficulty. Eric should be there any moment now. Uh,
No
so,
problem.
yeah, welcome to the show. Sorry for the delay.
Tim Butts, having me?
Uh, okay.
It looked like it's buffering for both of us.
Okay. Well,
Let's see
James.
him.
James
Let's
is
see
not.
his name.
Well, James is on the show. Yeah. James
I went
is
ahead
on.
and bought the trial.
Yep. Okay. I mean, if you want to get going while we're waiting for Eric, you tell me. Why don't you introduce
Sure.
yourself?
Okay.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's that now?
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is James Rios. I'm a plumber and father.
I'm sorry.
That's about it.
Say that again.
I said my name is James Rios, and I'm a plumber and father.
Okay. All righty. I'm kind of filling in here till Eric comes in. Do you have any? Oh, here we go. Maybe Eric is coming in. Here we go. Well, there you go, Eric. All right, Eric, you're in.
Well, I see you and I see James. Oh, here we go. Can you hear me, Jim?
Yeah, I can. How do I look?
Okay, you look fine. Sorry about the technical difficulty. And first of all, good evening. I'm going to welcome you to Detroit in Black and White presents Reality Strikes with Eric Brown. And what I want to do is the invitation is send it to the superintendent of Detroit Public Schools as well. And Dr. Vitti did reply back, so I will read his reply to me. And once I read the reply, then I will give you the opportunity to present your case with regard to this matter. Is that fine?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. So reply from DPSCD Superintendent Dr. Vitti. Thank you for the information and for the opportunity to address this matter. I had the opportunity to review the allegations, and unless there is information on the parent's part I or the district is unaware of, we handled the case correctly at the school level, except for the principal not reporting the incident to the Title IX office after they occurred. That mistake will likely lead to disciplinary action. However, the principal and school acknowledged the incidents between two students at the school and met with both of them. The parents and the incidents involved, they were separated. There was never a cover-up or disregard of incidents from the information I have had the opportunity to understand and see. I wrote a detailed email to the parent on Friday that I cannot share because it involves details of incidents that the school or the school district cannot reveal to protect the students' identities and circumstances of the incidents. Perhaps you can ask the parent to share it. It will shed light on the allegations that have been made against the school and district. In addition, aside from the incidents involving students, there has been growing tensions between the parent and the schools, teachers, and administration. Staff feel threatened, bullied, and disrespected. The parents feel unheard, lied to, and also disrespected. The school also did not invite the parent's daughter to an after-school program that increased tensions. It is my understanding that the principal apologized for that mistake. In the end, we are hoping that the parents will sit down with central office staff to work through these tensions and move forward toward a place of mediation and reconciliation. Again, all of us is sad with the information that I am aware of. If there is more to this situation than that I am unaware of, then I will be responsible for reviewing it and leading it through. I will not be joining the show at this point, but you can read this email or include it in your discussion. If parents provide details of the incidents with you and I on the show, then it does allow me to talk in more detail about it. I think if you understand the circumstances of the actual incident from what we understand about them, it will give you a different perspective about this matter. Enjoy your weekend, Nikolai Vitti. So that's a letter that's the response that he sent me. Again, the invitation was extended to him as well with regards to the situation. And hearing that, you can provide insight to what the situation was and how you want to move forward with the matter.
Sure. First off, a little bit of housekeeping, Eric. If I run out here, I'll let you know. We can, probably not the best for show business, but I could probably log out, log back in on my tablet if that's all right. So with that said,
Okay.
First off, I mean, if I present, regarding Dr. Vitti's email, as far as I don't think I have a case to present. I'm just sharing our experiences and our frustrations with the fact that the school, through Dr. Vitti's admission, did not follow the proper Title IX procedures as federally mandated, for one. So with that said, I think it's disingenuous to say that this was handled correctly. That in itself is proof that it was not. There's so much more that Dr. Vitti is not aware of. We will have an opportunity, as expressed to us today, to, we've been mandated to have a seat and air it all out, as it was explained to us. As far as never a cover-up, I mean, this is all a cover-up. Everything. The fact that nothing was done, the fact that our family was retaliated against. He mentions my daughters not being invited to, all parents were contacted regarding these after-school programs, except ours. When we met, like, what is this about? They said, well, yeah, we just assumed, you wouldn't want to come given everything going on. And, on that note, just the smugness in their faces, you could hear it in their voices. We could talk about whatever you'd like, but as far as the contents of the email, he mentions protecting identities. I've been very conscious of that, in protecting the identities of all involved. But as I've said from the beginning, this is regarding my child being molested at school, and the school then doing nothing they were supposed to. They apparently tried to handle it in-house. Okay, and we could go into the egregious missteps in that regard, which I mentioned to Principal Brown as recently as March 31st, specifically. And it's always, show us some grace. If you could show us some grace. And I'm like, look, I've shown you a lot of grace regarding the missteps and mishandling of the molestation of my child. And if it's just grace, and no action, we haven't been contacted by the Title IX coordinator at no point. The email Dr. Vitti sent to me, it was a little confusing. He mentioned, that there's one has been started. Then he mentions later that, some were started months before. And if in fact some have been started, why is the AOA staff permitted to retaliate against us on completely not in accordance with Title IX. If this investigation is pending, why are these people online impugning my reputation, my parental decisions, the financial ethics of my wife and her function as a PTA president, which is on itself is so outlandish. There are minutes, there's treasurer's reports, everything's accounted for. And then when a concerned resident parent brings this up, his response is, well, that's their First Amendment right. And I'm like, that's not how this works. That's not how none of this works. If there is a pending Title IX complaint report, there is no retaliation. And that's indicative
Correct.
of what I said to Mr. Brown after the egregious mishandling of the molestation of my child. And that's exactly what I've called it every time. This sexual molestation of my child, the missteps and mishandling. Very specific. You know, some folks are uncomfortable with the terms. Some folks are uncomfortable with the definitions. My explanation of folks, it's like a house fire. Whether it's a child playing with matches or whether it's someone dousing your place with gasoline, the outcomes are the same. The damage is the same. And that's what we've been struggling with as a family, trying to piece this together. Been confusing. It's been the worst experience of my life as a father. You know, I'm very involved. I'm very present. And the one place where where I see the protection of my child is to her teachers and the administration at school. With that said, the teachers did a phenomenal job. They did exactly what they were supposed to. Reported to their superior, reported to parents, and we had the meeting to address these issues. It wasn't, oh, it's nothing. It's just, it's innocent. They saw what they saw, reported it as they should, as they are federally mandated to do. And then from there, once they passed the baton to the administration, it was just a complete shit. It was a shit show. There's no other way to say it. You know, as far as growing tensions, those are all due to their hostilities towards us. You know, and I believe this is their MO. This is how they do, based on the information and messages we've received from numerous families saying, yeah, we were there. We're not there no more. It's the administration. It was this and this. And it's like, yeah, this all sounds familiar. You know, going against my kid. How are you going to have an after school program? Call everybody. And here's the thing. Principal Brown said, yeah, well, I assumed you weren't interested. He wasn't the one making the calls. So he instructed the staff to, okay, we're calling everybody except the Rios family. They deleted us off of the text messages for the event and emergency information. And they've removed the established as a legitimate 501c3. We've done great work there. Mr. Brown kicks us out of the building due to the president's husband's Facebook posts. If the president's husband's Facebook posts displease the principal, yet AOA staff can attack and impugn my wife in response to our advocacy for our child, with Dr. Vitti himself saying, oh, well, that's their First Amendment right. That is not how any of this works. That is not how this works. So given our experiences, one thing I'll say, you know, staff feeling threatened, come on. Come on.
And one of the things I want to applaud.
Okay, well, yeah, let's air it out. Well, what have we done to threaten you? You know, well, what they were saying, hope for reconciliation. You've botched and ignored the response of my molested child. And then you retaliate against us as a family. And the staff is online saying, if you don't like it, leave. Why are you here? You're a horrible father. I post after being stonewalled for 18 days, sending emails to everyone with a DPSED, email address that should be involved in this. 18 days of nothing. After my posts, my initial post that went viral locally, 18 hours, we get Dr. Vidi's email. My message to parents is don't even bother with the emails. Go online. Because this administration is exclusively concerned with the preservation of their reputation and appearance, as evident in they deployed the DPS public affairs executive trying to run interference on my personal Facebook page to then have her comment cut, add a little for flair, pasted by the assistant principal of the other campus to the AOA community page saying, oh, this is handled, this is what was sent to Mr. Rios. No, it wasn't. Oh, that was not sent to Mr. Rios. And quite honestly, that is obviously a cut and paste from your public affairs executive. That was the first person to contact, to reach out, not even to reach out to me, to show their face and do all their public affairs stuff on my page, misleading concerned parents and members of our community. So yeah, here's the thing. This is Facebook. Everyone has a phone. Everyone can screenshot. We have screenshots of everything. We got the teachers attacking us. Other teachers, heart, like. That is not how Title IX works.
Right, and hold that thought for a minute, Mr. Rios. Hold that thought for a minute, because we have a lot of people coming on as the discussion has already started. So I want to welcome everyone that is listening. Sure. This is a special edition of my show, Reality Strikes, on the Detroit in Black and White channel. You're watching it either on Facebook Live, Instagram, or YouTube. And the topic is a situation involving a child that was molested at her school. And the parent, who I applaud for being a strong advocate for his child, went through the process, filed a complaint, did the Title IX, reach out to the Title IX officer within the amount of time for which you are supposed to reach out to them, which is what, 48 hours, I think. So I want to applaud you for doing that, Mr. Rios. And additionally,
no, let me correct you on that. Let me correct you on that.
Okay.
Let me correct you on that.
Okay, go ahead.
Immediately following immediately following the egregious missteps of this entire thing from the beginning, which started in September, November, but beginning of the year, we specifically said our daughter is not to be pulled aside, reprimanded, in no means, because she did nothing wrong.
Correct.
Immediately following that, our daughter was pulled aside, reprimanded, and without us present, by a male staff member without the credentials or qualifications to address such a topic. We immediately went to the school, aired our grievance, and at that point, I specifically demanded I want all proper procedures, reports, and staff trainings that are obviously needed here. And that was months ago.
Okay.
And the thing is, just for the listeners to understand, the onus is not on us parents to be the Title IX experience. The onus is on the mandated reporters, as it's called. Individuals in the building who have what is called actual knowledge. They are the ones with the 48-hour requirement to report, and nobody did nothing. And so I just want to point that out. It wasn't us within 48 hours. It was like I demanded it to happen, and it didn't, as acknowledged by the superintendent.
And then to our
Permits
viewers, I
his
want to
staff
thank you for
to
joining.
continue their attacks.
Right. And I want to thank everyone for joining. And one of the points, one of the comments was about whether or not the child was violated by someone who worked for DPS. And just to be very clear, your child was violated by another student, correct, Mr. Rios?
Listen, I've said specifically that I've worked diligently to protect the identity of those that aren't part of this part. So I don't want to get in specifics. The whole hood does. The whole neighborhood do. They want to know. They want to know who was it, what they do. I will say that it was actually Dr. Vitti himself who let the specifics of who it was in an email to someone not involved in any of this. So the facts are out there. I'm not going to, I've said specifically in some direct communications online, who I refer to as the anonymous member, your anonymity and privacy. And I'll continue to do that here. This is not about that. That's said and done. As I said, it's like a house fire. Whether the child's playing with the matches or someone douses your place with gasoline. The damage is what's left, and that is what we're dealing with. And the professionals, the mandated reporters in the building failed to act, except the wonderful teachers of my child who witnessed what they knew was wrong and immediately brought it to our attention.
And then one
Immediately,
other,
thank God.
And one other thing I want to point out,
I'm so grateful for that.
And one other thing I want to point out, because we, even in,
and then as I said prior, at that point,
we keep
passing the
saying
baton
AOA.
to the administration, it's been a total cluster.
And AOA is a DPS school. It's on the west side, correct, Mr. Rios? I think you froze up for it. The AOA, that's a school on the west side, correct? And AOA stands for the Academy of the Americas.
That is.
Okay. And one of the other things,
did you hear me? Southwest side.
Yes, I heard you. Yes, I did. And one of the things, one of the viewers,
can you hear me?
Is asking, is your daughter currently receiving counseling?
No. No, because those things for our viewers, those services, those interventions and resources are triggered after the mandated report not happened, not received, the federally mandated interventions and resources. And I'll only speak of my own child. That is, we know we have not received the necessary resources.
Has that been something offered from the school or the administrators or even the central office folks?
No. The first we heard of it was in Dr. Vidi's email at the end saying, and by the way, the resource available. So no, nothing.
And you mentioned the teachers quite a few times. They sounds like is who brought it to your attention.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they are being very supportive of it. What about other parents or the Parent Teacher Association? How receptive are they to this cause and you moving forward with it?
Look, I'm no stranger to advocacy, and it's a mixed bag. You get people inboxing the worst, and then you get people inboxing the most beautiful messages of support. One thing I will say is a recurring theme is I have been personally contacted by victims of child molestation, adults, and they are all grateful for my advocacy. And they share their stories. And the one that sticks with me most is the individual that said, I suffer the same thing. And as an adult, I often question why my parents didn't do more.
Wow.
And my daughters are young, but they will be young adults. They will be young ladies. And they will grasp a concept of everything that's going on around them. And it was then I decided, I'm going to advocate for my children in a way that their adult selves will feel proud and protected long after I'm gone. I don't know who you are, but you reached out. I will talk to anybody. I will share my story with anyone to ensure this doesn't happen to not only my daughter, but any child in the district.
Yeah, I definitely found it a story worthy of getting some traction just based on, I just happened to be on the Detroit Parents page last week. And after reading it, I was like, wow. I mean, I saw, even in your comments, I saw the passion from you. And then I reached out to you. Actually, I reached out to someone on the school board first to see if they were aware of it. This was last Wednesday. And you sent your letter initially to the administration down at central office on Monday. And the person was not aware of it until I brought it to their attention. And I need to know, are you familiar with Saxon law? Because I have someone by the name of A. Early Story that's asking about Saxon law. And that's SAXON. And they said it should be ordinary in this situation. So either if you're not aware of that, I can ask them to explain what they are talking about. And then I have another viewer, G Money Hollywood, who's a regular viewer of Between Black or White. He's asking, have you obtained counseling yet? Counseling meaning a lawyer.
We've done everything that we should as parents that have suffered what this administration has already admitted to doing. And everything that I've mentioned, we have all the documentations, all the screenshots, all the text messages. I very specifically, March 31st, I very specifically brought this issue up. We've been asked for grace. I said, I've shown a lot of grace. Specifically to the principal, where I said, I've shown a lot of grace regarding the sexual molestation of my daughter, and I'm out of grace. And then
again,
right around that time came the retaliation, because we will look under the hood. We will look under the hood. We will kick the tires. We will pull out the cobwebs. We will shed light. We are not meek, vulnerable parents. And at some point, a calculation was made. What's Rios actually going to do? And then they acted in the manner in which they did. They retaliated against my wife for my email, for my Facebook post. And again, I'll point out, and meanwhile, immediately following the Title IX pending in Title IX investigations that Dr. Viti himself has said are pending, he protects his staff saying, oh, they could do, whatever they want. It's the First Amendment. That's not how it works. But I'm here. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to anyone. What I won't allow is for what had happened to my daughter to be diminished, to be minimized, and definitely not swept under the rug. Not only for her safety, but for the safety of every child in the district, especially the safety of the children who currently find themselves under the supervision of AOA administrators, who have proven themselves to be either unwilling or incapable of taking the proper steps. Either way, it's unacceptable.
Oh,
this
correct.
is a federal mandate.
No.
This is not what, Mr. Rios says. This is a federal mandate. And they have failed us and every child at that school.
And as I stated to you when we spoke yesterday, definitely my sympathies go out to your daughter for this experience. And again, this is Detroit in Black and White presents Reality Strikes Brown special edition on his Memorial Day holiday or Remembrance Day. And again, as I told you previously, thank you for your father and his service to the armed services and protecting us. And this is a very important topic. That's why after I read it on the Facebook page, I had it necessary to bring it to a different platform, a different form, because prior to even seeing it on the Facebook page, I'm just astounded that this is not something that the media has gotten a hold of and reported on it. Because any child that walks into a school building, be it elementary, middle, or high school, they should be protected to the highest level of what the responsibility is for a school in their administration. And again, let me let the viewers know that there was an opportunity extended to the school board and the superintendent to appear on this platform. The superintendent chose not to, and that's his right. But I just wanted people to know that offer was extended to the DPSCD administration. And even seeing some of the Facebook responses, Mr. Rios, I mean, people can be very insensitive. And I know one of the comments that stuck out with me that you spoke about with regard to the back and forth, as if people don't believe you, you made it very clear. You have receipts. And that's very important. So I've never once thought that this was something that you made up. As I read through the numerous Facebook postings, even the initial letter you sent to the school board on the 19th of May, I knew the seriousness of this situation. And we have one of the viewers, Miss Sheila. She's thanking you for being such a precious father, for advocating for your child and other children in DPS. So you definitely have to be commended. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a father. But I commend you for being that strong advocate for your child, as well as other children, because you may not know it. You're advocating for other children as well.
Yeah, like I said, I gotta
Your sound not coming through, Jim.
You know, today's Memorial Day, and you invoked my father. And my father was a Vietnam combat veteran, and he worked himself to death, literally, to provide for my 3 brothers and my sister. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I heard you just now. You were going in and out, but the last thing I heard were you talking about your father and your 3 brothers and your sister. And I hear the dog in the background.
All right. I was just going to say, in response to that comment, today's Memorial Day, and my father was a Vietnam combat veteran. Yeah. And I think about him a lot today, and it's just my hope that, it's a neighbor. Anyway, I'm just resolute to react the way my father.
And we had this conversation yesterday, Mr. Rios, and I knew it was a question that would come up. And I told you yesterday, I predicted it would be coming up. And someone is asking about you removing your daughter from the DPS system. If you care responding to that question, because I know the answer already, and I knew the answer pretty much before I asked you yesterday, but if you don't mind responding to the viewer's question about not removing your daughter from DPS and the reasons why you have not done that.
First and foremost, why should I? Why should anyone who's been victimized at school or at work, in college, why would it be required that they remove themselves?
Right.
Number one. Number two, we have signed on to a multi-year program of bilingual education. My daughter in Spanish. If I remove them, my American children will be English language learners elsewhere. And their academics and education and development will suffer. If I leave, who will step in? Who, as I tell my mom, if there was somebody else, they'd be here. So it's out of the question. We're not going anywhere. This administration, this district is going to straighten up. And obviously, this has been a conversation that has no. So the answer is no. Now, you don't like it? Get your household in order, DPS. Get your household in order when it comes to the protection, the most basic protections of the students in your care. Follow your federal mandates. Comply with your federal mandates as you are a recipient of federal funds. Do what is required. You don't like it, leave. You're a horrible father.
And to your Title IX complaint, the response you got back from the superintendent is one that should be coming from the compliance officer, correct? Shouldn't the compliance officer be reaching back out to you?
Within 24 hours, per the DPS manual.
And have they reached out to you yet? Responded?
I said, well, I was stonewall. Of course not. Of course not. But again, parents, if you have an issue, ignore the flow chart. Go on social media. It's my hope you'll be contacted as swiftly as I have been. But no, as to this point, no, there's no coordinator contact. Nobody's contacted me. Their behaviors, as the Bible says, you'll know them by their fruits. They don't care.
That they bear, right. And that's one of the things I was about to ask you, because prior to you going on social media, no one from the administration had contacted you? And the administration being the superintendent's office.
No.
Wow.
Everyone.
Yeah, that in and of itself is very
The board,
upsetting, because
the
unsettling as well, because this
administration,
happened.
compliance,
Wow.
bilingual education. No one. And it's email.
Wow.
It's email. I will receive your timestamped communication. Dr. Vitti, that this was handled properly, except the principal didn't report. There is nothing proper about what we are going through as a family. There is nothing proper about the hostilities from teachers of AOA. This was immediately handled. About my daughter being reprimanded. Without us present. She's 5 years old. Was 5 years old at the time. She's 6 now. By the gentleman that at a different occasion, Principal Brown referred to as "that's my muscle." I thought it odd. Why do you need muscle from a kindergarten to 3rd grade? And it became apparent, oh, the muscle's not for the kids, the muscle's for the parents. The messages we've received, as far as the experiences that people have had this morning. You know, I had a daughter at AOA, she's 20 now. And we had an issue, and I didn't know what you know. I took care of it elsewhere. I wish I had the information. And she thanked me, commended me. So this is not just an isolated incident. Based on the numerous reports of children who are now 20 years old. This is how they operate. Our experience has not been unique. And what's most unsettling is the ones I get in Spanish that say, we were told to not draw attention to ourselves due to our documentation status.
Oh, wow.
And as an advocate for immigrants myself, that in itself is infuriating. Infuriating. And again, I'm here for it. I am here for it. There was a calculation done. Are we going to do what's right? Are we going to tell? Well, here I am. I'm going to show you. I will. 17 years, and this is the best we get. And again, I'm not acted on it. They all had actual knowledge, have credit. And I'm going to hold them accountable. And if that makes you feel threatened, do better. Do better. Because I didn't bring this. You did.
And how long has the principal been over at the school?
I specifically told you what was, ignore it. So here I am. And I will advocate in the manner that will make my father proud on today of all days. And again, not just for my kids, for everybody else. Excuse me?
I was
What was
asking
that?
how long has the principal Brown, no relation, vice principal
What was
Smith,
that?
and the dean of students Ramirez, how long have they been at the school?
I'm not sure about Smith and Ramirez. I think Ramirez has been there for a while. I think Smith is pretty new. And this is not the way to start a vice principal career.
And I didn't hear you when you said how long Principal Brown has been over there. What did you say?
17 years.
Oh, wow. And then there was another situation.
That's according. I mean, that's
where-
according to the DPS page.
Oh, okay. And there was another situation where someone chimed in on the Facebook page talking about how well they know Principal Brown. And I just found that comment to be so disingenuous because the person you know has nothing to do with the situation at hand. And I just found that to be a rather interesting take on someone taking sides without knowing the story. So that was interesting in and of itself.
And that wasn't the only one. I specifically recall one regarding Vice Principal Smith. I've known her since undergrad. I'd be very surprised. Yeah, but what? Be surprised. Be surprised. That's your girl. That's your girl. And it's settled fact per Dr. Vitti. What was supposed to be done was not done. And again, as recently as March 31st, in no unspecific terms, I inquired about this and I told him, I've shown a lot of grace here and I'm out of grace. Specifically mentioned, I've shown a lot of grace regarding the mishandling and missteps of the sexual molestation of my child here. I've shown a lot of grace. I'm out of grace on March 31st. In person to Mr. Brown. And I'm interested to see when these initial reports that Dr. Vitti mentions, when do those line up? Most likely, probably after that, when it became apparent Mr. Rios is not going to let this go. We might have to, I don't know, say something.
Oh,
We'll see.
nor should you
It's all going to come out.
Nor should you let it go.
It's not going to not come out. Like it's
right. And what is your goal for a resolution?
Well, obviously, we need to change in leadership. Obviously, this staff, this retaliatory, hostile staff, immediately following Dr. Vitti's report of a pending Title IX investigation, obviously, they need training. Obviously, Dr. Vitti himself needs to review not only the Title IX requirements, but also the Michigan Code of Educational Ethics. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've been in education, but I remember a thing or two. And this is not how it's supposed to. It's not. It's not.
And with there only being a few weeks of school left, I think about 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks, doesn't look like this will get resolved prior to the last day of school.
Why not?
Do you think is it?
Why?
Well, it should, but
Shouldn't it be? Why shouldn't this not be immediately resolved now?
Yeah, it should have been resolved yesterday. But looking at the, looking at the documentation, I just don't see in the timeline. I would be very surprised if it is resolved by the end of the school year because people sometimes kick the can down the road, hoping that someone will go away. But I don't see you going away. So once school ends, what's going to be your plan of action to make sure this stays on the front burner?
To do what I've been doing to put it on the front burner. Like I said, I would assume they haven't encountered a father like me, but here I am. And I'll tell you, as I've told them, that this ain't going to end. This ain't going to, till there's, as I've said publicly, till there's a proper and responsible conclusion. And I don't see how, VD's going to be like, oh, hey, y'all just go to work on Monday. I already told everybody in an email that you didn't do what you was. Go ahead. It's fine. Stand and wave at entry. Do that.
And as we come to the end of the program, because we started late, now I apologize for the technical difficulty. But as we come to the end of the program, why don't you speak to the audience, the listeners and the viewers, about the importance of being an advocate for your daughter, for your family? First and foremost, because you have your 2 daughters and your wife, what does this mean to you to be such a strong advocate in this situation?
Everything. Everything. Who else am I here for other than my children and my wife? Who else? My strength and leadership and advocacy. Whose responsibility is it to ensure the protection of my children? And when they're wronged and when they're wounded, who does it fall upon? To do everything they should with every fiber of their being to make it right. It's me. I ain't going nowhere. You're going to see me. And now you get all of me. Now you get all of me.
And oftentimes we read the comments of the viewers because I think it's important to have, they took the time out to listen to the show. So I think it's important to engage them with their comments, and it's only speaking on their comments. They're not on the show. But I do think that under the circumstances, Andrew Porter, I disagree with you 100%. I do not find Mr. Rios to be a bully. He's advocating for his daughter. And I think people oftentimes speak on things when they're not in the same set of shoes, because I feel that anyone that's in your shoes would have handled this situation the same way. I mean, me and you shared a conversation yesterday about something that happened to my daughter when she was in middle school. You have to be an advocate for your kids. And if it takes someone want to call it bullying, no, it just takes someone that's being strong-willed to get a resolution to a situation when they are advocating for their family. And I'm sorry, Mr. Porter, sometimes it does take antagonizing a situation to get a result and to get a resolution. That's just the way life is. So any last words you want to say, Mr. Rios? And I want to, again, thank you for your time. You didn't know from Adam, but you took the time to engage with me, agree to come on the show, talk about the situation, because it can be, so many things have been said on social media. I am a believer in letting people hear from the horse's mouth. And again, we offered the opportunity for the administration, DPS, to be here. They declined it. So I want to put that disclaimer out there again. because DPS did have an opportunity to be a part of the show as well this evening.
With that said, I'll just close and I'll just quote you. We have the receipts. It's not a question of if this happened. That's done. What we're dealing with now is the fallout and chaos, the kaying it out amongst ourselves. I'll tell you that. And I'm open to talk to anybody that's willing to be rational. We can disagree on my tactics. We can disagree on my my style, my tone. But look, I ain't no suit wearing professional pencil pusher. I'm a tradesman, and I'm gonna be me. And I'm gonna advocate for my daughters. If this happened, that ship has sailed. The question now is, why have you not done what you were supposed to? And I don't want to hear from a public relations executive about it. I don't want to hear from lying assistant principals, Thomas Noyce. Mr. Rios, Mr. Brown sent this to Mr. Rios. No, he didn't. And he didn't. I'll take the fire. Comment section, inboxes, text messages. I'll take that. That's not my concern. My concern is my daughters. My concern is my family. My concern is their development, safety, and well-being. And we're going to do it.
To which you should be applauded for. And again, I want to thank you for your time, Mr. Rios. I will keep you and your family in my thoughts and prayers that a positive resolution does come of this, and the impact of your daughter going forward hopefully will not be traumatic. And again, I thank you for being the type of advocate that any parent should be for their child.
I appreciate it. And finally, I'll say, this issue has been, my friends in Spain are asking, my friends in Mexico, my family in California.
I want to thank Mr. Rios for a great interview. It's a situation that needs to be talked about, needs more media attention, because this is a situation that involves his daughter. And, if parents do not advocate for their kids, matter at work, school, wherever, then parents are not doing their jobs. So again, I want to thank everyone for coming out this Memorial Day, Remembrance Day, holiday. Enjoy the rest of your evening. See you all next Monday. And until then, peace and love, and have a good evening. Thank you.